Hi, I'm Donna Dewberry, the original creator of the one-stroke painting technique. And I've been painting in the Let's Paint program flowers all year long. Each month I come up with the flower of the month and I teach you how to do it in the one-stroke painting technique. I'm using multi-surface paint and we're having so much fun with it. It's a FolkArt paint that is an acrylic. It's got a nice sealer in it. It works indoors, outdoors, glass, all kinds of surfaces, and we have a great time with it. Along with my one-stroke technique that makes painting flowers really easy, we're gonna do the September flower, which is a morning glory. And in this painting, I wanted it to be out in the country with a fence post, and my fence post is kind of rotted a little bit, but I thought it'd be fine to wrap some vine around it and have these pretty flowers where you're gonna learn different elements to make this flower come together and be a side view and maybe a front view of it or even a little bud. And when I was studying about this flower, I read about it and thought it was pretty interesting. Did you know a morning glory blooms and dies in the same day? To me, that was pretty amazing. So you probably have to get up really early to see the most beauty of the blossom when it blossoms. All right, well, we get to paint it so it'll last all year long right there in your house. So let's get going and we're gonna paint morning glories. I love painting these morning glories. I love that you're gonna learn different positions, a straight on view, the trumpet view, and buds. And we put some interesting wood in here with the vines growing around it, curlicues, and a fun background. So I'm gonna start with the background first, and we're gonna use some of the cobalt blue and some magenta with white and get this kind of dreamy background, and then we're gonna put in our tree. Our dead piece of wood, whatever it is, all right? So let's start with a 12 by 12 wrap canvas, and we're gonna take our faux sea sponge, and gonna work with it with these colors. Now, this is the wicker white, cobalt blue, and magenta, and very little bit of these two to make a light baby blue and a light pink, okay? So I'm going to grab quite a bit of white, and I'm mostly gonna have this little bit of blue in here. So let's start with that. And on the outside corners, actually, let's get some of this white on there. I need more blue, all right? So what's gonna happen is I like to wrap the edges so it's got the same color. And I can come in here, you can tap it or just make a little bit of a circular motion around the edges. All right, and I don't want it too dark because it will look like it's dark and a stormy look, and we don't want that. We just want some light, nice colors. All right, so let's put some more white. I moved it around a little bit more white in here. And I'm kind of tapping out the colors. All right. And then we float a little bit around the flowers to bring out some blue. I hope you're enjoying the classes and what you've been learning so far. Each class each lesson, we're trying to give you a few extra techniques and tricks to help your painting flowers be successful. All right, so now see the little bit of pink. Now see, it's got bubbles here. I'm not gonna leave those, but I'm kind of moving around the pink where I want the pink. And then I can tap it out so I don't see that, or I can make little circles to blend it in. So see, the circles are a little softer, all right? But you wanna make sure you get the edges. And then you can put the blue where the blue edge is, see that? All right? And then it's all hang ready, so you can hang it right away, even without a frame. All right, so we're gonna put that sponge down for right now. And I left this section right here because I'm gonna put the tree there. And I'm gonna bring out my palette for that, where I've got the different shades that I'm gonna be using. All right, so let's move over to these colors. And I've got the colors already for our painting lesson where we're gonna be on our teaching guide. And this is our September flower, which is Morning Glories. And they're fun to paint. Just some few little tricks that are gonna make it easier to paint. So we're gonna take and get some water on the 3/4 inch flat, and we wanna get some brown colors. So sometimes if you add just a little bit of black, not a lot of black, Donna, just a little bit of black, we can start getting this brown tone. See that? And a little bit of white. Okay. All right, now what I did was I had it kind of broken off. So I decided I wanted it about this wide. All right. And then we're gonna just base coat in some colors. With this black and gold, I can start adding it right here. This is the licorice and yellow ochre, okay? So I'm gonna pick up more. I could even add a little bit of medium to get that blended to its brown, and even a little bit of white. All right, so see the brown tone you're gonna get from that? We don't blend a lot of colors to get another shade because there's so many shades that are exactly what you need in the multi-surface line. But this worked out good because we wanted to use the colors we had and get some of this texture and look in here. So we're gonna come in here and work the black and a little bit more to the gold, but not totally blended like before. So I'm gonna come in here and just do some little broken off pieces. And you can come in here with the yellow ochre. All right. So we want to get some wood green in here. All right. So we can get more detail wood green. All right. So I know they don't see a ton of detail when we put, you guys, when we put the vines in all around it, but it's kind of fun to see what you can, the look that you can get just by using either the flat or the chisel edge of my brush. All right, so then I just came in with a little bit of more of the white and yellow ochre. See how I'm going to lay that out and even put a little bit of white in it? All right, so see how that gives it character because it's got some yummy colors in here. All right, so you can go into a lot of detail. I'm just showing you that if we're standing up on our chisel edge, we can get some good looks. And I'm going to flick this all at the end to add some shading. And take that around the edge too, okay? All right, so the first thing we're gonna do with this arrangement, if you've been watching and painting with me as the months go on, we've done different vines before and you've seen me come in and do the greenery first. So I'm gonna put some vines in and then not all the leaves, so that the vines are just going to take us to the position of where we want the morning glories. So with the morning glories, I am going to do just a face view where it's just this without the trumpet, and then some side views, the buds. So we're going to do some of all of that and show you how you get the depth so it looks like it goes in. All right, what you're going to see is your paint color or your list of supplies over here for your morning glory, what a morning glory meaning is that I shared with you. And look at all the inspiration. I love to give you inspiration on glass, metal, wood. And then we're going to talk about how to break down the flowers. And not just talk about it, we're going to practice it. So I'm going to move this out of the way and let this dry just a second while we're working on our sheet. Because the first thing I told you I wanted to do is add just the vines in there. So when we've got our double loader here, and what's going to happen here is I like to kind of pat this so that the paint goes out, all right? And we're going to then come in between and split our brush, which is dampened, in between the pickup paint and go to an empty space and work it in. And go quick, 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 quick. So this is citrus green and sap green. So I've got really dark and then a bright, lighter color. You can just dip if you want to. And then we're ready. So on this plastic, it's gonna be, on this film, it's gonna be like you're painting on glass or ceramic or mirrors. And so it's gonna be slick, so you don't need medium. But when we do, we'll just dip a little bit of medium straight in there, and I'll show you that later. And then when we go to our flower colors, I'm using the magenta, wicker white, cobalt hue, and these are the colors we just used, the yellow, ochre, and black, which has licorice, okay? So what we're gonna do first is let's do vines. So when I'm doing the vine, I want you to see that I'm lifting the front slightly and dragging. So when I drag like that, I get a really thin, nice vine, and your whole arm goes with you. So never go like this and shove it away from you. I want you to start and pull it, okay? And I also like you to have a wet little square of paper towels so we can wipe it off and practice again, all right? So there we go. Now, when we do get ready to do leaves, we're gonna do some calyx around your flower and around the bud. And that is just this stroke right here where we push down, we slide. I'm taking the lighter edge first, and it's kind of like a slider leaf slide. All right, always making sure that we have that blend of green so that we're gonna get that color we want. All right. All right, so I think we're ready. We're gonna just put some vines on here, and then we'll come back and practice the flower, okay? So when we're doing this vine, I like to act like it comes, I'm gonna get some more paint. I want it to come from behind and have some little vines coming out, and see how this time I'm leading with the lighter color. Sometimes if this was a dark finish, you would lead with the dark color and follow with the light. Whatever follows is the predominant color. So if the dark green goes last, that's the color that you're gonna mostly get. Now I decided I want a morning glory over here. So I'm gonna pull it back, one over here, and I wanna wander this vine kind of around the tree. And it's easier to control to pull it back. But sometimes I come all the way over there, but this is the thing. You don't have to put every vine. You could say, oh, I'm gonna put a bud there because it's gonna look good there, and then we'll put the leaves, all right? So I can put a few of these leaves over here where I'm pushing that bright greens right there. And see how fast I can paint right on that wet paint? It's because this FolkArt multi-surface is really lush and creamy, and so if it's too thin, it's going to pick up the color underneath, but it doesn't. It's wonderful. There we go. So you could take your fingers and go this way or this way around your vine, and it helps you wherever you're pointing, you can put a leaf, because some people make them come backwards, which is kind of not natural, all right? So I'm just gonna put some of these, and the rest of these are gonna come in when I come back and grab my flower. But look, I can also put a little bit of white worked in, and look how much that pops. All right, push there, because it looks way better when you go into the leaf. All right, so we're gonna go get ready for flowers, and then we're gonna fill in more leaves as we decide where we want them. All right, so far that's kind of fun and interesting and easy, I think, where you can, if you feel comfortable doing the vines, and we cover a lot of the vines, they're just placement, okay? So let's do a little bit of a lesson with the morning glory. So I'm gonna come around here, and I put the white on both sides of the colors that I need white to be with, all right? So I just touched that blue by accident, so let me go right here. There we are. We're picking that up, and we come here and we work it in. And I want it to be like a light pink, all right? So this is what I want you to see. Do I have the color I want? That's looking pretty good, pretty blended. All right, then I'm going to come right down here, slide up, and that's what's going to go underneath each of these flowers if you want to see a side view. All right, and then also before I change colors, I want you to see that's also what I'm going to put here to get a trumpet look in here. And then I can shade it like this and be ready to put those veins back into it. All right, so this is what we're saying. You scoop like that and you lightly pull into the flower. But I kind of curve it out like this a little bit so that you get the shape that takes it out into the petals, okay? So we're gonna pick up our white and our blue. See, we're gonna pick up between the two, work it in, maybe pick up some blue if I need it that way, blue and white. Or just remember you can move this over and this over into the double loader and it's gonna help you keep that nice clean load. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is, this is a little tricky where I'm going up and around to a point, but it is a lot easier when you have one to follow. So sometimes you might wanna take a little bit of chalk until you feel more comfortable, or a pencil, and take and get that shape, okay? I like to pull that white in there a little bit if it didn't make it. But what would make it better is if you came in here and pushed harder, okay? And then it does come all the way to the middle, all right? So I could draw out my design where I have these peaks. Now, another thing I just wanted to share with you is you could trace this out, the shape of this, and then come over and transfer it with graphite paper right to your piece so that you're painting, so that you can get that shape better. Because that's the only thing that you have to worry about is this part laying down, and then it'll help you easier follow. All right, I meant to do that bud real quick before I clean that, but I'm going to go ahead and show you again how I put this pink inside the flower, because right in here is where you want to do this little scoop, and it says smile. See that? A little smile. And then I'm just going to pull that pink out, and this trumpet will make sense to you when you see that the smile, I mean, when you see that these are going to go into it, okay? So it's easier when it's not on the slick to put that on there, because it's going to absorb into your project there a little bit, into your canvas. So then you're going to touch these and you're going to pull them in, all right? And then touch this right on the chisel and pull it in. So sometimes I'll let those dry. One thing I want to share with you is that this is going to turn and this is going to turn, all right? And I put the little dot so it kind of covers the spot. I also will put a little white line there sometimes to emphasize it more on this edge of it, because when you're doing this side, you're only going to go to that edge. It's not going to show that it's all the way. I'm going to get a smaller brush though, I think will be better for you. See that? All right, because you don't want to touch the pink. That's why it's better that this is all dry, than you wouldn't have this. Then we can lay the pink on there, okay? All right. So I'm going to build it together with you on our project, and I think you'll see better. And I just like you to practice. The most important thing on the sheet is that you practice making this move around, because it's a point and a curve up, a point, like at the hill, over the hill and back up to the point. So here's a smaller version and a larger version for y'all to practice. And then the last thing I want to show you now before we start painting our piece is how I do this bud. And you can get a smaller brush. You don't have to do it this big, but I want you to see that some of them I have done smaller. Now I'm going to take this and make that curve. It's like an S, okay? But I want to point and then come across. So look, number 2 is you chisel, lay, chisel, chisel, lay, chisel. All right. So if you practice here and do that, that's going to help you. See that? All right, and then we put the calyx around it, which I've already showed you. All right, I want to show you also that I have come in with just pure white and made this indentation here. So when I come back, I can add a pink in there, and you don't have to do a pink or white line later. It's all the way in there already, okay? But we'll show you that as we do it, okay? Now, make sure you wipe off. If this is your first class, make sure you're wiping off and cleaning so that this paint will adhere to this, and it'll be harder to get it off, okay? So this is to remind you what you're looking at, and you can also take and leave it this way so you can see the steps you're doing next. So it's up to you, all right? But let's get going on our flowers and see how they pop on us, okay? How they're gonna make it look really good for us. So one of the ways I do this, I don't know if y'all can see the chalk, is I do a circle and the size I want. Now I hate to do pencil because I'm afraid that you might not cover it, but I want you to see where it is, okay? Now I also will make that trumpet sometimes so you can see where that's gonna be. I'm gonna lightly pencil it, but I would prefer y'all to use chalk even if you can get colored chalk. All right, and let's just do this one where you just see the face of it. All right, so we'll do those three. And the 12 is probably the best brush for you to use for this, for the size that we're doing. All right, so I think actually this one I did without a base, so we'll see. So if I'm gonna pick up my white and, oh, right here, hello. Right there, there you go. All right, so then go back and forth till you get that pretty pink color with your magenta and your wicker white. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put the trumpet over here because this is actually one I did in my project. All right, then we're gonna come here. Sometimes you want it bigger. This one will be over in the distance a little bit, and we can make this one a little bit more substantial. All right, so just go down and back up. All right, kind of like a big bell, see that? You can just scoop it down and come up if you're gonna put something right over it, but if this one shows a little bit more, it'd be kind of nice to put it there. And I did put one more down in here. You see, I'm not worried about the vines being connected because that's easy to do afterwards. All right, so we're gonna wash that. And let's go for our blue. Now, this is what I was saying. If I do a point here and go up, a point and up, as you're going around, it's going to help you get that shape. But don't do it with a pencil, okay? And I'm just going to put some leaves there so we'll be good. All right. So let's get right here to our blue. And remember what I said, I want a nice blend of white so it looks nice. But these look absolutely beautiful hanging in the garden. These blue morning glories. I just can't even believe they're real sometimes. All right, so this is the one that's gonna be facing up, and I'm doing it without a trumpet. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna really push down so that I'm going into the middle more. Up and to a point, up and to a point. That's a big one. All right, each time I went 3 before I had to go get more paint. Okay, there we go. Get some more paint. So it's okay to go back over one till you get that shape. All right. Now I did a longer span here and a longer span there. So what I'd like to do is take this one over here. Because what this will look like a little bit is like this is close to me and that's a little in the back, so you would be okay. Now the key is we've got to fill this in if I didn't push hard enough. Okay, So this one's wide and open, but I'm going to make this one a little smaller. Okay. Now, I'm going to come right here, pick a place that you want to start. Oops, there we go, to the point. To the point. See how pretty it looks with that pink? Now, I'm trying to stay in this oval and still have that movement that we want to see, okay? And I'm going to just smooth this out because we're going to put that white and that pink in here. Still a little big for this, this brush, okay? All right. So I like to go ahead and get these all in there, and then we'll come back and put the center. All right, so it's good repetitive right here where we're going to show it over and over a little bit, and this time I'm not letting the trumpet show as much. So variety makes your flowers and your arrangement look really nice. Okay. Push hard. Push hard. And one more. Okay, so I'm going to come back and clean this one up so I can get that peak like I want it. And that's kind of normal. I'll do that a few times, going around and checking it out. Like the only thing I'm not happy with, if I go around and fix this right here, the only thing I would like to see is as I came around here, I turned the brush a little sideways. But this is the beauty of one-stroke painting. You can take and pick up fresh paint and just restroke right on it. All right? Okay, I'm just brushing that in, blending a little bit. All right, one more. And I made these a lot bigger. I seem to be doing that. All right, so. Okay. So this flower untwists. It makes a little twist for the bud, and then it comes, as it untwists, it has all these grooves that we're going to be doing. All right. So when I make the bud, let's do a bud right here. So I'm going to have a point and push down, slide, make a point and push down. I needed to pull that down a little bit more. So then when I put this on there, there we go. And it's like an S. I do that when I do rope also. All right, and then maybe one more here. You don't have to put every one that I have there, but wherever you think it might need something. So look, I slide on the chisel, push down, slide on the chisel, push down. All right. Now, let's go back and put the little white smile in here. So I'm not going to put floating medium. I'm just going to go and pick up the white. Okay, and you have to line up this the throat right here where that base is. Okay, where the trumpet part is. See that? It's right straight there, and then the stem also goes there. All right, this one's going to be a little bit bigger, and actually they are really big on the vine, which is nice. They're really big and pretty. At least they are in Florida. All right. Now, I'm going to come right here and following my base. See my trumpet down there? I don't want a heavy ridge. I got a pretty big ridge there. Okay, and the pink's going to come in there and there. Okay. Now, you see I got this ridge there. I can always brush that in with my finger and come back and clean it up. Okay. So now I did the pink and the white in here. All right. So we're just gonna come along here right inside, leave the white really crisp, and then I can chisel edge that out. Okay, so then that looks like it goes straight into there. Back and forth to get that white blended. Now you don't have to worry about where the trumpet is on this one because you're just looking at the face of it. And later you can go in there and darken this if you want. But right now we're just going for getting that color in there. All right. Okay. All right, I definitely need to darken this one. So I can do it later, but let me show you. I would just come in there. Even after it dries, you can float more color in. Right in here. Which kind of matches what's underneath it. Do you see that? The trumpet kind of goes a little bit better with this. All right. Now we're ready to put the leaves, and we're going to let that sit for a minute. And I'm going to go back to, let's watch this. We're going to go back to pick up right in between here. I'm supposed to be holding this so y'all can see. There we go. All right, and then we come here and work it in. And then every once in a while, guys, come over here and get a little bit of white to give you some different color, make it bright. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I will use this brush, but I think I'm going to show you. I'm going to use this brush more for my larger leaves out here. Now, remember I told you wherever my fingers go, so I can have one out here, one out there. All right, and then I pull my stem in off the vine. Okay. All right, so what I really want to do as I do this is pull the vine into it, and I keep pulling it out of it. I don't want to do that. There we go. All right, so let's change. I'm going to put a couple more, and then we will change to the smaller brush so that we can get those pretty calyx. All right. A little bit more. Now sometimes you can just use this brush like I've done before, but it's easier to control with a smaller brush. All right, see how those vines are? They kind of make it look lighter and prettier. And sometimes you would think the more you put on, the heavier it's going to look. But believe it or not, sometimes more makes it better, okay? So I'm going to remember what I said. If I put all dark green and then side load the second color on the smaller brushes. Now I'm going to come right here and do the calyx, but there's not enough light green there. Can you see that? All right, so dark and then side load the light. So right where that stem is, I'm going to put one. And we can curve it a little bit. We want to wrap that up and around the trumpet part of the flower. Right here too. See, you don't have to have the stem already. Remember, we can pull it from there. But when we do these little buds, we're going to do just like that around the bud. So watch this. Where am I at there? I'm going to start on the chisel, push down and stand up. Push down and lift. Okay, look at that. That gives you just a little fun little curl there. All right, now I'm going to reinforce this vine here by starting here and pushing away and then lifting up, because it's going to be a little bit hardier there maybe. And lift, push and lift, and make sure that that goes too. All right, so before I put the yellow center, I am going to bring the blue veins, they're not veins, they're separations. All right, I'm gonna get all solid blue on the chisel. All right, and I'm gonna curve these. Now this one's gonna curve right into it, this one curves from here, and then this one curves the opposite way. All right, and this one's going to go in right inside that white line into the center. Now this one won't be able to, so I can come a little bit further and make it do a better point there, and this one's going to curve that way. So everything on this side curves in, everything on that side curves in. Does that make sense? All right, so curve it in, and see, using this smaller brush made that whole process easier. All right, you get a better shading with the larger brushes, but not with something like this. This is detail. All right, so remember here, I can get a good point and I can pull it in, and you just want to go to where when we put the yellow, you can stop and it looks like it went into the yellow. Because this one needs a little bit more, it looks like, but we will fix that. There we go, by putting the yellow in there. See how nice? Now I keep going over there and flattening and getting more blue. And you're going to end right there. It's got to stop and not go into the center. All right? Now we got some real big ones, but I like that, like I said, they actually are really nice and bold and big. I did them all kind of petite in the original. There we go. Painting. And then I'm going to take the handle of my brush and I'm just going to dot right inside. Now I don't want it to touch where the white line is because I want it to look inside, like you're going into the flower. Isn't that pretty? There we go. And I also have come in there and put a white highlight on the yellow sometimes. Now, the last thing we have to do, and it's a pretty fun little project, is do a curlicues, all right? And I can splatter this or do whatever I want to do to get more detail if I want, or give it a little bit of, let me show you, a little bit of texture, especially if it's got a lot of blank spots. One thing that happens, we're doing this inky. So look, I'm going to make circles, try not to get into that white, roll this brush, and then you can see what it's going to, how the liner's going to work, okay? And it helps if this is dry sometimes, but I want you to see, oops, I just put my finger on here. I want you to see that if I, let's get this off my hand. If I start in the middle, I can be careful while it's wet, and I want you to see that I can take my little finger and go slow. And they have really nice curlicues because that's what they're, there it is again. See, there's that green right in the wrong spot. All right, so got a little bit of this, of that inky sap. Now watch what happens. My little finger's helping me stay up. So if I come here, now sometimes when I'm making the curlicues, I want you to see, I practice by starting in here, pulling out, and then I'm holding this brush, and my little finger is making these little M's and pulling it out in a way. And that way, your finger won't be on the wet paint. And it's easier to use your finger than stand in the middle of the painting. Now, is that a lot of curlicues? It is. Now, until you feel comfortable and practice those, I tell people you can come in here and just do a wiggle. You don't have to do the whole curl until you feel more comfortable. But I still would like you to do it. And then we sign. I sign with this. I'm going to sign. Okay. And then I'm going to go and do that splattering I was telling you about. So I am going to use the large brush, and I splattered the blue. So let's go over here, and we've got to make it inky. You know how I just told you to make the green inky? Well, if you get this the right consistency, so it's not just water, and I'm going to put it right here and show you. You want to get it where, as you're flicking it, you get those little spots all over, and you decide how many you want, okay? So I'm going to keep this inky there, And I did a little more spots out here without getting it on my clothes. There we go. A little bit more here. I do this even on the beach sand when I'm doing ocean little scenes like shells, or a country look if I want a country look. And I don't mind if the splatters get over on the wood either. So isn't that kind of fun? And it just warms it up. Now, I hope you like that. I thought that was really fun, learning how to do the morning glories, doing something that maybe isn't just a plain stroke, is where you add more detail. And you have to practice. Okay, so when we painted this together, there are things I want to make sure that you remember. You learned how to do tendrils with a little script liner in your little finger. You need to practice that. We also flicked a little splattering of color to just accent the canvas. And we even made a piece of rotted wood fence post with a couple of different colors and even did some wood grain on it, along with all the different sizes and shapes of a big, beautiful morning glory. So I thought that was fun. And what I would like to share with you is the different surfaces that makes a difference, because you can literally walk around your house from outdoors on the porch to in your kitchen and in your bathroom and pick out different surfaces like the metal and a cute little birdhouse. And you know that this paint works really good outdoors. So you can put the birdhouse right outdoors and actually use it. And I love that you could do this plate and do a fun painting on there. And I like to lean those up in my china cabinet and make an accent for the season. How great is that? So I want to see what you turn your painting into each month if you go on and share and join our Facebook group, where you're going to share on this site all the different things that you paint and see what they paint. The site is called Let's Paint with Plaid. So come join us and just have more fun sharing what you do. And it feels good to have people like your piece. And I also want to have you join plaidonline.com. And if you go to plaidonline.com/Let's Paint, you're going to learn all the different Let's Paint lessons that are available, whether they be one-stroke painting or learning how to do different painting techniques and different artists that work with Plaid. So come join us there. And I've got a little secret for you coming up. It's what we're going to do next month, and it's going to be October, and it's marigolds. Now, how great is that for the fall? So I want you to be ready to paint with me, have all your brushes clean and ready, get your paints out, and we're going to have fun together. So let's paint.